Man, I would love to see South Africa get into the stage of presidential debates. Wouldn't you love to see South Africa get into that space of presidential debates, man? Wouldn't you love to see maybe, let's say, the leaders of like top 10 political parties in South Africa, man? Wouldn't you love to see these people on stage debating with each other, making their cases to South Africans on why should South Africans actually vote for them? We would have something like even the moderators, man. We would have the moderators, and these moderators, man, are questioning these political leaders, man, about some of the stances they made, some of the statements that they made, the policies they made, and these people, man, at the same time, they have their people that are opposing them. So these people, man, they will also get a chance to actually say, man, you said something and that was wrong, man. Wouldn't you love to see South Africa enter that stage of presidential debates? Because I think right now it would actually make sense for us to have presidential debates, because I think people would actually earn their votes. I don't think right now politicians in South Africa, man, are actually earning their votes. I don't think they're earning their votes. Because if we have to be honest, man, no one is questioning these people about anything. The journalists are not doing their job, so no one is questioning politicians about everything, man. These people are doing the rallies, they are doing the manifestos. No one is asking them questions. They are doing the press conferences. They take questions. Maybe sometimes they don't take questions, but the questions that the journalists in South Africa are asking, you know how those questions are. But guys, wouldn't you love to see the leaders, man, of these political parties on stage? Wouldn't you love to see Mmusi Maimane debating with Julius Malema about a certain topic in South Africa? Wouldn't you love to see maybe, let's say, President Ramaphosa, man, debating with John Steenhuisen about a certain... Wouldn't you love to see that, man? I would love to see that, man. And I think South Africans would love to see South Africa, man, entering that stage of presidential debates. Honestly, man, these people, man, need to earn their vote. They need to make their cases to South Africans, because I don't think running around making one statement, reading one script, going from rally to rally is actually making you justice. I don't think it's actually making you justice, man. I think more people, man, would actually fall in love with certain political parties or certain politicians, man, because of how those politicians actually put their points across, how those politicians actually engage. Because I think having presidential debates, it actually tells us, man, it will show us the character of these guys. It will show us the character of these guys, man. So, guys, man, I'm just thinking out loud. Man. Wouldn't you love to see presidential debates in South Africa? And I also think the presidential debates in South Africa would actually expose a lot of politicians, man, in South Africa. I don't think a lot of politicians in South Africa, they can actually stand for scrutiny, man. They cannot stand for scrutiny. So I think having the presidential debates, man, it is something that none of these political parties are talking about. None of these politicians are talking about. No one is saying, guys, how about we have a stage in South Africa, man, where we have top 10 leaders of top 10 political parties in South Africa, man. These people, man, are going to tear each other apart on the stage. We have the moderators that are going to do the jobs, the moderators that are not going to be scared, the moderators that are not going to be biased, the moderators that are only going to focus on doing the job and say, man, you said 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 on the 15th of October, and now it seems like you have changed your stance. What happened, man? You said that this policy is actually going to work for South Africa, but when we look at the research, wouldn't you love to see that, man? Wouldn't you love to see that, man? I would honestly love to see that. I would honestly love to see that. And again, guys, if we had a presidential debate, who would you think would win? Who do you think would win actually in a presidential debate?
Hello there, guys, and welcome to Daily Updates. In a few months' time, we'll be voting for that new president of the country, the president of South Africa. So I've made a list of the candidates who are really saying that they raised their hand in running the country, in becoming the new South African president. It can be the current one or a new one. So I'd like you guys to look at this list and really look at whether there is a candidate that you can really vote for, or whether there is no one with that capability of running the country. Please look at this.
Patriots, I'm training, I'm losing all the weight, getting ready for 2024 May, when we mass deport all illegal foreigners. We need to be fit. We need to be physically fit, because we've got hundreds and thousands, millions to mass deport. Abahambe, 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 Abahambe.
You see, when it comes to Gayton McKenzie, man, I think Gayton McKenzie has actually done well, especially when it comes to identifying a problem and fighting on that problem on South Africans' behalf, man. I've said this a lot of times that if you have a political party, you cannot simply go out and start telling people that, guys, this is what we are going to do, this is what we are going to do. Man, South Africans are facing a lot of problems right now. You need to pick one of the problems that is facing South Africans and fight for that problem to be solved, man. You are fighting for that problem, fighting for South Africans on their behalf, just like Gayton McKenzie and Patriotic Alliance. Because right now, these people, man, out of all the issues that are facing South Africa today, they said that, man, we are going to focus on the issue of illegal immigration. We know that a lot of South Africans, man, are feeling a lot of South Africans right now, man, they're feeling angry about what is happening about the illegal immigration. So we are going to pick that one issue, man. We are going to put that issue and we are going to run with it. And South Africans are going to love us about this issue, man. We are not going to focus on education. We are not going to talk about the economics. We are not going to talk about anything. But we are simply going to focus on this issue of illegal immigration. And I think if you have a political party and you approach things in that way, people will actually be able to identify with you, man. Because people will know that, man, if we have any problem of illegal immigration in South Africa, people are now looking at Patriotic Alliance. So I think actually more people are going to vote for Patriotic Alliance simply because they're sick and tired of illegal immigrants in their neighborhoods.
Salute.
Hello everybody. I'm
Bossa.
standing outside a police station. In truth, I told you last week that we'd gone to court to successfully challenge the government to provide alternative energy for police stations, for hospitals.
And guys, how do you think Patriotic Alliance is going to do? How do you think Patriotic Alliance is going to do? I know they're saying we are gunning for like what, 15% or something, but how do you think Patriotic Alliance is going to do? Man, Musimaiman. Musimaiman is one of those guys who actually believes that South Africans are going to vote for him. According to Musimaiman, it's only 4 people that South Africans are going to consider into 2024 elections. South Africans are only going to consider Cyril Ramaphosa. They are going to consider Julius Malema, John Steenhuisen, and Musimaiman. This is not my opinion. This is what Musimaiman said. Musimaiman said, man, South Africans, man, they vote on popularity. South Africans, they don't care about the policies. South Africans, they don't care about what you say. As long as you are popular enough, South Africans can actually vote for you. This is the reason why he's saying, man, I'm putting myself on the list. The most popular politicians in South Africa is Cyril Ramaphosa, is Julius Malema, is John Steenhuisen, then it's me. Those are not my words, it's Musimaiman's words. So Musimaiman actually believes that Bossa can get over 10%. The Musimaiman said that, man, they are gunning for like what, 1 million votes. This is what the man is saying. And guys, what are your thoughts on Musimaiman, man? Do you think Musimaiman can actually get like 2 million votes? Because these are the kind of numbers that Musimaiman is talking about. These are the kind of numbers that Musimaiman is talking about, man. Musimaiman says, man, politics in South Africa, it has nothing to do with the policy. It has nothing to do with the manifestos. It has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with the popularity. As long as you are popular enough in South Africa, people are going to vote for you.
For schools during load shedding. Much to my shock and horror, Minister Pravin Gordhan, yes, you sir, decided that that decision that was granted by the court that must be so is irrational. You are challenging it and you are going back to court to say that right for citizens to be safe, to study and to be healthy should not be a right upheld by your government. So Minister Pravin Gordhan, I want to tell you straight, sir, that next time a child dies in hospital because ultimately incubators are not working, that next time crime goes up during load shedding, and that in fact children cannot study during load shedding, it's on your hands. You and your government are insisting that even in these difficult times, you will not provide alternative energy for police stations. Here's what disturbs me the most though, is that when ministers of your government, your fellow colleagues, wanted alternative energy for their mansions, for their places of state, the government found the money, provided for it, built in all the ministerial residences, have put alternative energy. One day history may recall.
So South African politicians are not doing their job. So as a result of that, South Africa does not have electricity. But the same South African politicians are actually they have alternative they have the alternatives. South Africans do not have an alternative, man. South Africans, when the lights are off, the lights are off. But this is not the case with the ministers. And the ministers, man, they're being paid by the taxpayers. They're not doing their job. And now the taxpayers do not have electricity. But now the ministers are using the same tax money to get themselves an alternative. How is this fair, man? How is this fair to poor South Africans? How is this fair to average South Africans? And how is this fair to tax-paying South Africans, man? How is this fair?
That when the people cried out for help, you opposed them and even opposed them in court. But when your colleagues inside your own government demanded alternative energy, you stood with them. You, sir, are becoming a friend of your fellow politician and ultimately against the people of this country.
Under the ATM government, we are going to extend the maritime territory in the Cape of Good Hope Sea Route in order to generate toll revenue.
Man, Vuyo Zungula, I think the South Africans are not giving Vuyo Zungula enough credit about Phala, man. Vuyo Zungula, ATM, these people, man, have done an amazing job on making sure that Phala never goes away. If it wasn't for Vuyo Zungula, Phala would have went away. And it is so frustrating looking at how many political parties we have in parliament, and none of these political parties were actually pushing for Ramaphosa to be punished for Phala like ATM was. Why weren't these political parties actually pushing for Ramaphosa to be punished? Why do we have so many political parties in parliament, but when we have something like Phala, you only have like what, 1, 2, 3 political parties actually saying something? But what about all of these political parties, man? What is the purpose of these political parties in parliament? What is their job? What is their job? What are these people actually fighting for? What are these people actually fighting for? You have a scandal, man. We actually have a chance to hold the president accountable, the incompetent president accountable. Vuyo Zungula, ATM, man, I really have to say that, man, South Africans did not give you enough credit, man. South Africans are not giving you enough credit, especially when it comes to holding Ramaphosa accountable, man. You are one of those people with that I can say proudly that, man, Vuyo Zungula has done his best for Ramaphosa to be held accountable. Vuyo Zungula, man, has done his best. But other political parties, man, I don't know what other political parties are doing in parliament. What are other political parties doing in the parliament? Are those people, man, just sitting there and saying nothing? The president can be embroiled in the biggest scandal to ever hit South Africa, and other political parties, they are simply sitting down and saying nothing. How is this possible, guys? How is this possible? So why are those political parties actually in parliament? Are the constituencies of those political parties happy with the fact that the political parties are not saying anything about what is happening in South Africa, man? If I was a member or a follower of any political party in South Africa, I would be mad if my politicians or the people that I voted for, they didn't say anything about Phala. I mean, I would be mad. I would be mad because I'm like, man, why can't you hold the president accountable? We voted for you to go to parliament because one of the jobs for you to be in parliament is to hold the president accountable, is to hold this ANC government accountable. And if you're not going to say anything about Phala, if you're not going to say something about something as big as Phala, I'm going to be mad at you. Are the supporters of other political parties actually happy about the fact that the political parties, man, never said anything, man, guys? I mean, guys, if these political parties were actually serious about Phala, I mean, Ramaphosa, man, that was one chance to actually get rid of Ramaphosa. If political parties were actually serious about accountability, man, this was their chance to actually get rid of Ramaphosa. And Ramaphosa knows it. Ramaphosa knows it, man. I remember there were those reports that said Ramaphosa wanted to resign from the African National Congress because of Phala, because he knew that, man, they got me with my hand in the cookie jar, red-handed. But for some reason, man, Ramaphosa got away with it. Ramaphosa got away with it. When I hired an acting public protector, that public protector came in and exonerated Ramaphosa, man. In a couple of months, the same acting public protector who exonerated Ramaphosa, man, was officially hired as the public protector of South Africa. So right now, Ramaphosa has someone that he knows that nothing is going to move against me, man. As long as I have Koleka Galeka in that office of the public protector, anyone can say whatever they want to say. They can report whatever they want to report about me. Nothing is going to happen with me. As long as I have Koleka Galeka. Koleka Galeka, man. Koleka Galeka has no credibility. The public protector that we have right now in South Africa, guys, it is a shame. It is a shame. That woman was bribed in front of us. That woman was bribed in front of us. Just imagine the president, man, giving you a job to be the acting public protector, coming in to exonerate the president, and after exonerating the president, you are hired by the same political party to now be the official public protector of South Africa. What do you think is going to say about the presidency and accountability, man? There will never be any accountability. Ramaphosa knows that, man. I made a huge blunder on that public protector thing. It nearly caught me. So I need to make sure that that office of the public protector is under my wing. It's under my wing. I would be mad. I would be mad as hell if I was a supporter of any political party and my political party didn't say anything about Phala. I would be mad as hell. So shout out to Vuyo Zongula and ATM, man. They've done an amazing job.
Egypt is making more than 100 billion US dollars per year from the Suez Canal because every ship efunu doka in the Suez Canal, it pays a toll fee. But come to the Cape of Good Hope, you realize, Ukuba, as a country, we are not making any use of that economic opportunity.
The DA is the only party that's big enough and strong enough to stop Julius Malema.
Steenhuisen. Guys, I honestly think John Steenhuisen is one of the politicians that is going to face problems in South Africa in these elections. John Steenhuisen is going to face a lot of problems. So why am I saying this? Is because you look at John Steenhuisen and the fact that John Steenhuisen came after Mmusi Maimane. So as we go into the elections, man, you know, the ANC and the EFF, man, the only way, the fastest way to criticize the DA, they simply gonna say, man, you see what is happening with the DA? They got rid of Mmusi Maimane, a black man, and they replaced a black man with a white man. You cannot vote for that political party. And that is enough. That is enough. Don't you think it's weird? Don't you think it's weird that every time when the DA says, do not vote for the EFF or do not vote for the African National Congress, the DA will give you the reasons why they say do not vote for those certain political parties. The DA will say, the African National Congress has destroyed the certain municipalities. This is how they spend that money. The EFF and the African National Congress, they destroyed the eThekwini, and this is how they destroyed the eThekwini. This is how the DA always approaches the matter. But when you see, when it comes to the ANC and the EFF, man, it's very simple. It's very simple, man. You simply have to tell the people that, guys, you cannot vote for that party of the Democratic Alliance. The Democratic Alliance is getting rid of black people, man. You can see even right now, they got rid of Mmusi Maimane, a black man, and they replaced Mmusi Maimane with John Steenhuisen, a white man. You cannot vote for the Democratic Alliance. And besides, if you vote for the Democratic Alliance, man, apartheid is coming back. I'm sure you don't want apartheid to come back. I'm sure you've seen those Sarafina movies that we have recently played for you. I'm sure you are aware of those documentaries that are now online, the apartheid documentaries. You don't want the same thing to happen again. So if you dare vote for the Democratic Alliance, this is exactly what is going to happen. And you know how gullible South Africans are. You know how easily intrigued South Africans are by racial politics. They're simply going to believe them. They're simply going to believe them. The EFF and the ANC, they are having the easiest time going at the Democratic Alliance because they don't have to engage the Democratic Alliance. They don't have to debate with the Democratic Alliance about certain policies. They don't have to debate with the DA about anything. The only thing the ANC and the EFF will have to say about the DA is that, man, that is a white party. You cannot even look at that party. That is a white party, and to people and to South Africans, for some reason, it is enough. But every time when the DA says, there's something wrong with the ANC, there's something wrong with the EFF, man, the DA will always provide the reasons why they say all of those things. But when it comes to those political parties, they don't do the same thing. Those two political parties, they simply say, the DA is a white man party, man. You cannot vote for that, man. And you know, apartheid will come back. Don't vote for that. And it's simple. And I think this is the same thing that they are going to do in these coming elections. And this is why I'm saying the DA is going to face a lot of problems. Because why? South Africans are easily intrigued by racial politics. So when someone starts saying that the DA is getting rid of black people, you can see the DA is racist. Black people are leaving the Democratic Alliance. I'm telling you, that message always works. That message always works. So I don't know how the Democratic Alliance and DA and John Steenhuisen are actually going to fix this whole thing. I don't know how the DA is actually going to rebrand. I don't know how they're going to do it. I guess time will tell.
The DA is the only party with the size, the resources, and the track record to oppose and defeat the Doomsday Coalition. And for proof, look no further than the action that we took against the chaos that the EFF threatened to unleash during their so-called national shutdown. It was the DA that took decisive legal steps and mobilized our thousands of branches all across this country to stop the EFF dead in their tracks. And today, I publicly declare Julius Malema's EFF to be political enemy number one of the Democratic Alliance.
I don't know why the DAs stepped away from this whole thing of declaring the EFF as their enemy number one. It was working. It was working. I know. I know. I'm going to agree. I know. I'm one of those people who came and said that the Democratic Alliance, what they are doing is stupid. How can these people, man, declare the EFF as their enemy number one? But when you really look at how politics is played in South Africa, you are like, man, the Democratic Alliance should have stayed with that. The Democratic Alliance should have stayed with that. As much as there are people loving the EFF in South Africa, there are people who hate the EFF in South Africa. So if you are going to be a politician, or if you are a political party and you say that the EFF is our enemy number one, many people are going to say what you are doing is stupid, and many people are going to say punch on our behalf. And I think, honestly, man, I think the DA shouldn't have stepped back on this whole thing of putting the EFF as their enemy number one, because not only white people despise the EFF in South Africa, man, there are black people in South Africa that hate the EFF. So if you are John Steenhuisen and you are going to stand on stage and you are going to attack Julius Malema, some black people are going to say, John Steenhuisen, what you are doing is good. Julius Malema, we hate him. Keep hitting him. Keep hitting him. Many people would have said that. So the DA, going into this election, man, this is what you must do. Put that agenda ahead in front of the Democratic Alliance. The Democratic Alliance number one enemy is Julius Malema and the EFF. This is what you need to do, man. I know you're going to get a lot of criticism. A lot of people are going to say, man, how can the DA, out of all the issues that are facing South Africa, how can the DA come out and say EFF and Julius Malema is the enemy number one? But I'm telling you, it is going to work. It is going to work. Take my word. Take my word. This is how politics is actually played in South Africa. And again, this is the only way you're actually going to get your word out there. Because what is happening right now, the ANC and the EFF, they are running away with the narrative. It's almost as if the DA right now is sitting on the back seat. And by the numbers, the DA is the second largest party in South Africa. The second largest party in South Africa. But it's sitting on the back seat. Right now, the ANC and the EFF, they are fighting to drive this car. They are fighting to drive this car. So if the DA comes out with this message again, I'm telling you, a lot of EFF supporters, man, are going to cry each and every day. I know how EFF supporters are. Every time you attack their leadership, these people, man, they cannot even cry. They suffer insomnia like no one else. They suffer insomnia like no one else. So if you are going to come out, you need to say, EFF and Julius Malema, they are our enemy number one. We don't care. We are going to focus on those people. We are going to hit those people. I'm going to obsess about Julius Malema. Everything Julius Malema says, I'm going to be on stage opposing him and hitting him. It's going to be me and Fikile Mbalula. We're going to hit Julius Malema until the elections come. Right now, this is the same thing that Fikile Mbalula is doing. This is the same thing that Fikile Mbalula is doing, man. Fikile Mbalula, man, does not allow Julius Malema to say anything about him. If Julius Malema dare says anything about Fikile Mbalula, he knows that Fikile Mbalula is coming. And when Fikile Mbalula lands, you're going to see with the meltdown from the EFF that, man, geez, Fikile Mbalula is hitting hard. And a lot of people, man, especially the ANC supporters, are like, yeah, hit Julius Malema. And not only the ANC supporters. This is how it's like in South Africa. Even average people, you have average people who are like, man, I don't like Julius Malema because of certain things. I don't like Julius Malema because of certain things. So if you're going to come out and start hitting him, as much as Julius Malema has support in South Africa, he also has people who hate him. So this issue, you need to put it on the front. South Africa does not care about the policies. South Africans does not care about the fact that you want to take the country into this certain direction. I know that is the policy of the DA. It's fine. You can put it on the back. You can put it on the back. You can put it on the back. But you need on the upfront for people to actually vote for you. You need to play identity politics. Start playing identity politics. Play Julius Malema as the man. Play him. You're going to get support. I'm telling you.
And I commit the DA to fight back against the EFF at every turn. with the ultimate aim of defeating the Doomsday Coalition that could seal South Africa's fate next year.
I must say that we are really flattered that other political parties have seen the light and recognize the resonance of our message to South Africans, because they really.
But I have to be honest, man. When it comes to Rise Mzansi, Rise Mzansi, Rise Mzansi, out of all the smaller political parties, this one party, man, is the party that actually made its voice heard. I know we have a lot of political parties, especially young political parties in South Africa. I always compare Rise Mzansi with the Build One South Africa and Shiluva of that Bongani Baloyi. And looking at Mmusi Maimane, Bongani Baloyi, and Songeso Zibi, I must say that Songeso Zibi, man, is leading the pack. Songeso Zibi is leading the pack, man. Mmusi Maimane might as well take his bossa, might as well take his bossa, 10-man bossa thing, and join Rise Mzansi, man. Be the deputy president of Rise Mzansi. Fight this fight with Songeso Zibi. Fight this fight with Songeso Zibi, man. Because we have to be honest, man. We have to be honest. We have to be honest, man. Songeso Zibi, man. Songeso Zibi, what he has done is amazing. What he has done is totally amazing with Rise Mzansi. He has actually managed to get people to talk about this political party. And I see the posters of Rise Mzansi all over the place. The posters of Rise Mzansi, they're all over South Africa, man. You cannot go anywhere without seeing the posters of Rise Mzansi. Who is finding you, Songeso Zibi?
The reality is that next year's election is a crossroads for South Africa. If we don't vote the right way, if we don't get Amasela out of power, it will be very difficult to recover South Africa 5 years later. It's important that we do what we did in 1994. What did we do then? With a country that was violent, with an economy that was broken, with a politics that was broken, and South Africans said, we choose a different path. We are going to shape the future that we want ourselves. We're going to get the kind of representatives we deserve to build the country that we deserve. And that's what this slogan is called.
Are you confident that you will kind of get into Parliament? Are you guys confident that you will get the votes from South Africans?
We will get into Parliament.
Yeah, I also believe that Rise Mzansi is going to get a couple of seats in Parliament, man. These people, they really have motion. They really have motion, man. Even where I stay right here in the Free State, man, they already have motion. I already see the structures, especially of young people belonging to Rise. I say that some of these young people are helping the students with the NSFAS. They're actually moving, especially in the township, in the grassroots. I see their presence. Rise Mzansi, unlike other political parties, I can actually say that I see their presence in the neighborhoods. I can see it.
We will get into legislatures, but I've got additional news for you. Watch us also in 2026. You know why? Because we are one of the few, if any, political organizations who understand that the political is personal. The political is the family issue. The political is the community issue. And unless politics solves the problems of every person, every family, and every community, then politics is failing. That is why the organizers and volunteers of Rise Mzansi work in communities every single day.
Just last,
But he's telling the truth, guys. He's telling the truth.
how do we get young people to vote? Because there's so many young people who are not voting, who don't care about politics. How is Rise Mzansi going to get the youth to start voting?
We are not getting young people to vote for Rise Mzansi. Young people are building Rise Mzansi themselves. That is the message. The message is that for too long, young people have had to belong in leagues so that they can go and make representations for 5 minutes to old men and women. The unique thing about Rise Mzansi is that young people are building the movement they want. They're giving it the culture they want. They are also shaping the future that they are going to live in. Absolutely. Not the future that the old people are messing up. And then we leave problems for young people to deal with, and with no money because they've stolen it.
Yeah. Just later.
Hey, but Songeso Zibi, man. Songeso Zibi.
What are you gonna do? Because
promising you it's not the first time you see me. I've been here before, and I will continue to be here. Not because I'm a speaker or a Nina Joburg, but because...
Guys, I honestly have nothing to say about this lady. Honestly, I don't want to lie.
I'm your child, because I am your servant, because today, Nina, You have become my children. Libana basara from today. Yalikuka kaufela. Yangena ki Union Building.
Guys, what is Sarah? What is Sarah? Let me check. Sarah. I've never heard of a political party called Sarah. Sarah officially unveils Makhubele as its leader. Oh, this lady is an ex-member of COPE and a Joburg council speaker. All right. I've never heard of her, man. I've never heard of her. I've never heard of her. But it's fine.
Report that we were lucky that the security allowed us access into this plant. And I just want you fellow South Africans to see this for yourselves. These pipes, as you can see, they've been lying, from what we are told, 2 to 3 years. In the meantime, the communities don't have water. 4 billion rands went into this project, a project that started as a R500 million project, balloon.
And guys, we have to be honest, man. When it comes to giving Herman Mashaba his credit, Herman Mashaba has actually done an amazing job with Action SA. He has done an amazing job with Action SA, man, Herman Mashaba, man. And I must say that he's going to perform well in Gauteng. I honestly believe that Herman Mashaba is going to perform well in Gauteng, man, coming to these elections. I don't know about South Africans voting for Herman Mashaba to be the president of the country. I don't think not yet, but he is actually going to do well in Johannesburg. Herman Mashaba is and Action SA, they have done an amazing job, man. I have nothing to say about Herman Mashaba, man. I love Herman Mashaba. Come on.
Report that we were lucky that the security allowed us access into this plant. And I just want you fellow South Africans to see this for yourselves. These pipes, as you can see, they've been lying.
And Herman Mashaba and Action SA have managed to rebrand the party. At one point, Action SA was something like Patriotic Alliance. I remember at some point, Herman Mashaba was so obsessed with illegal foreigners, man. Every time Herman Mashaba would open his mouth, he would talk about illegal foreigners. But for some reason, man, Action SA and Herman Mashaba, they have decided to pull back from that talk of illegal foreigners. They've managed to rebrand it nicely. At some point, Herman Mashaba was talking like Gayton Mackenzie.
From what we are told, 2 to 3 years. In the meantime, the communities don't have water. 4 billion rands went into this project, a project that started as a R500 million project, ballooned to over 4 billion rands. And I remember listening to the president in December that 3 billion rands of this contract has disappeared. But fortunately enough, we are investigating this matter. We are going to get to the bottom of it.
We can say here, without fear of contradiction, that for the first time in 2024, the ruling party, a failed former liberation movement, will for the first time since 1994 face a resounding electoral defeat in the 2024 elections.
Those who, I mean, you see the EFF with Julius Malema. These people, man, these people are very good when it comes to messaging. They are very good when it comes to messaging. The fact that today in South Africa, people are debating about whether the EFF is actually going to take over or not. Can you just imagine? People are talking about it. People are actually debating. The EFF is a 10% party. Of course, the EFF has 10%. But when people say the EFF is going to get over 50%, not many people can say, the EFF is talking nonsense. You guys are not going to get over 50%. Because I think everyone can see the motion that the EFF has. The EFF has a motion, guys. These people, man, they are not scared to do the rallies. They are not scared to go out and do the manifestos. They are not scared to actually go out to the people. The EFF is one political party that I say other political parties need to learn from. You need to learn from Julius Malema. Whether you love him or you hate him, you need to be able to learn even from people that you don't like. You need to learn from them. The EFF, man, the EFF is not shy to go out to the people, man. You remember last time they did that huge 10-year celebration there at FNB Stadium. Right now, on the 10th of February, they are doing another manifesto launch in Moses Mabhida Stadium, and people are really looking forward to that event. Man. I thought the DA by now would have done at least one stadium. I don't see other political parties actually even attempting to do other stadiums. But shout out to Rise Mzansi, man. Rise Mzansi did their manifesto launch over the weekend, and in that whole thing, 4,000 people came. So Rise Mzansi, shout out to Rise Mzansi. The fact that these people are new, but they managed to get 4,000 people in one arena, man. That is a big achievement for people that were new in this politics. But what about other political parties? Man? I don't see them doing the manifestos. I don't see them going out with the people, man. I don't see them doing that. But when it comes to the EFF is something else. Man. Even people will say like, yeah, I know Julius Malema is not going to be the president of the country. But do you think it's possible for Julius Malema to be the president of the country? That's how the conversations are like in South Africa. People are like, man, there's no way EFF is going to jump from 10% to over 50%. But is it possible for the EFF to jump from 10% to over 50%? Looking at the support, looking at the direction of these guys. This is how the conversation is being heard around the EFF. And I think this is what makes the EFF really dangerous. It really makes the EFF really dangerous, especially to the DA. Can you imagine if the EFF surpasses the DA in these elections? It's done with the DA. The DA needs to understand that once they get to the third spot, they will never go up. Because once you are third in South Africa, you are now dealing with two political parties who are prioritizing racial politics and identity politics. There is no way you are going to get more support than those two political parties. So once the DA steps and becomes the third largest party in South Africa, it's over with them.
Think and believe that the ANC will survive 2024 national and provincial elections need very close medical and psychiatric observation.
Isizathu esenze ukuba sifake leya clause.
Awuvele inkosi ihlabisa bayethu.
Senza into enobulungiswa ukuthi ungafaka abantu busubabophelela ukuthi ngisho sekukhona okuphambana nonembeza babo bahla.
You see, when I see the IFP, I look at IFP like Freedom Front Plus, man. These people, they have their own constituents that are loyal to the party. You see the IFP, Freedom Front Plus, what is this party of Kenneth Mish? Those people, man, they have their constituency, man. And that constituency, man, it's loyal to these people, man. These people, they don't have to do the big rallies. They don't have to be out in the open, man, trying to... They have their own people that will always vote for them. You look at IFP, man. IFP has a solid base. Their base is solid. IFP will always have seats in parliament, despite the fact that it's almost as if they are playing on the behind the scenes. But IFP will always have seats in parliament. They have their constituency that is really loyal to the party. That's why I'm saying I'm comparing it to Freedom Front Plus. Freedom Front Plus, unlike other political parties, it is not out there. It is not outspoken, because what I can say, especially when I have to compare Freedom Front Plus with that party of Neil de Beer. Neil de Beer, unlike Groenewald, Neil de Beer is actually outspoken. He's speaking, he's doing the podcast, he's doing the videos. He's actually an outspoken person. But when you look at Groenewald is a bit more reserved. Groenewald with Freedom Front Plus and IFP, man, I must say, man, the constituency of these people, man, is something else. It's something else, man. You know, if I were to have a political parties, I would actually prefer having the constituency like the IFP's constituency, man. These people, man, the people who are voting for IFP, they are not even thinking of voting for other political parties. They are not even debating about voting for other political parties, man. It's unlike with the DA, ANC, the EFF. People right there, man, they're making debates. People are switching from this political party to that political party. People are now mad at this political party. They are now confessing to vote for this political party. This is the mess that is happening right there. But when you see at IFP, when you see at Freedom Front Plus, when you see at what is this party of Kenneth Mish, ACDP, man, these people, man, they have their constituency that is really base, man.
Noma yipi political party engene kule Charter for South Africa of multi-party political leaders izoba negunya lokuthi uma sekukhona ebona ukuthi emveni kwe-engagement akukho ukuzwana, there is no point ukuthi uhlale kwi-charter engasavumelani nonembeza wakho nembono yakho. So now senzeke into eyenza ubulungiswa kunoma yiliphi iqembu lezombusazwe. Kodwa ke okuyikhona okukhulu sikulindele is to get more political parties joining. There are so many political parties aseshilo vele ukuthi azoba ingxenye yale.
I mean, it's very unfortunate that in South Africa, man, I don't think we will ever get to have like a calm politician, man. You see Hlabisa right now. Hlabisa looks like a statesman, man. Hlabisa looks like he's ready to be the president of the country, man. I would actually love to have a person, man, who looks like Hlabisa as my president. Come on. I would love to have someone who looks like Hlabisa as my president, man. But chances are I'm going to have someone who is loud as my president after 2024 elections. I'm going to have someone who is loud. Man, Hlabisa, man, like he possesses integrity, man. He possesses, you know, like he's a real leader. He's a real leader, man. Unlike some of these leaders that we see every day making noise all over the place. Hlabisa, man, like he's a leader, man. He's conducting himself like a leader. And I think because Hlabisa, man, doesn't have to do all of these theatrics because they know that their base is really solid, man. They don't have to do all of these theatrics to get the support of the people, man. I like with the Gaten Mackenzie, Hemen Mashaba, you know, yeah, Julius Malema, man. These people, man, they always have to say something. They always have to do something for people, man, to say that we are going to vote for that political party. Yeah, we are going in that direction. But when you look at people like Hlabisa, man, like Hlabisa is very calm. I like Hlabisa, man.
Tata kunento encane ofanele badlule kuzo as ama-internal politics and ensuring ukuthi they are not overshadowed by political parties who have been there in the political field for quite a long time, and kusaza nama-independence after my-elections. Uma umthetho wasenkantolo ungaguqulanga kuzoba nama-independence, as you know. Ama-independence some of them azofisa ukuthi asebenze kanye nathi ngenxa ukuthi abantu abaningi abanelisekile uhulumeni wezwe lakithi ngoba wehlulekile ukwenza impilo ibe ngengcono. Amathemba onke ayekhona ngo-1994
Belanga. In 1999, only 2.5 million people had access to social relief. In other words, they got some social assistance from the government. Today, more than 18 million South Africans in our country receive social relief from the government.
I mean, like, can you imagine if the president would stand on the stage and say, today, more than 18 million young people in this country, man, they have actually found employment. Can you imagine how amazing that would be?
The SRD grant introduced during COVID, the 350, has increased the number by another 8 to 10 million, meaning that easily 28 million South Africans get assistance from the ANC-led government to deal with poverty.
But guys, if I was a president, man, I would never say this, man, and I would never be proud to say that the party that I'm representing, man, is responsible for 28 million people depending on social grants. I don't think I would actually be proud to be the president of the country standing in front of South Africans and saying that people are depending on social grants, man. I think when it comes to Ramaphosa, man, there's nothing more to say. Everyone knows how Ramaphosa's presidency was like. Everyone knows how Ramaphosa's presidency was like. Today we have 1 million political parties, man. It's because Ramaphosa did an awful job of running the country, man. If Ramaphosa, man, had done maybe a decent job of actually running the country, man, many of these political parties that we have today, they would be non-existent. So, guys, we've seen the leaders, some of the people, man, that actually has a potential of becoming the president in South Africa, man, after the elections. So who do you think is actually going to become the president of South Africa after these elections? And why do you think that person, man, is going to be the leader of South Africa after 2024 elections? So guys, tell me what you think on the comment section. Don't forget to hit that like button. And the most important part is subscribe. My name is Thomas Mabal. So I will see you next time. Bye-bye.